Frankly, like that for the last hour or so. So I think it's pretty much set. But you know, that's one of the things when it gets dark like this, you just don't know what out there, and you start to hear things. You know, you start to hear the fence creaking. You start to hear this fence over here. Now, I don't know if you can see. There's someone walking over there. There's a guy walking over there. You probably can't even see him in this wind. But there's a guy with, like, in a pair of shorts. You see that guy? Yeah, he just lit up a cigarette. The guy lit up a cigarette here in this wind. I mean, I don't know what he's smoking. I might go try to talk to that guy a little bit, because, I mean, it blows my mind. There's a guy smoking a cigarette in his shorts in this wind. You know, you see the oddest things in storms. Last storm, Hurricane Francis,
hit in the same spot as Francis within a mile.
Hurricane research team
originated in totally different places.
I figured they were like scientists or something. Turns out they were just two guys who really like storms. And they were out here kind of videotaping themselves, you know, in a storm. That's how they get their kick. So you see the darndest things in hurricanes, Carol.
One person down there, there looks like it's a whole group of people out there. I thought that they were trying to maybe save that fence or do some reinforcing in that area, but they're just hanging out?
Just hanging out. Yeah, you know, it's, why not hang out, you know? What's the one good thing about all this rain is, you don't actually have to go and drink water, because if you open up your mouth for long enough water will pour into your mouth and actually keep you hydrated.
Now that's looking on the brighter side of things, Anderson. All right, thanks. Hold tight there. Hold tight there. I know you're in the midst of it. Let's go to the CNN Weather Center. Rob Marciano. Tornado warnings where Anderson Cooper is standing right now.
Yes. No circulation noted on that, but we just popped one off the printer here for a tornado warning for Flagler County in northeast Florida. That's up near Daytona. So even that as far north as Flagler County. Wow. So just on the very edge of this tornado watch, we have now a tornado warning for a possible circulation of a tornado possibly dropping out of the sky there. I'll just read off some of these names: Palm Coast, Flagler Beach, and Lucia. Other locations in the warning, not limited to Espanola.
Into the Stuart, Florida area, just to the south of Port St. Lucie, the Melbourne area, in that general vicinity. It was a very well-organized storm, as you can see.
This turn. We've been talking the past few days about strong high pressure to the north, steering this system to the west, but at some point, that high pressure is supposed to weaken and allow a turn to the northwest, north, and maybe even northeast, and actually the future of this thing, said a lot of the computer models, heading through northern Florida up into Georgia and the Carolinas over the next couple of days. Now the problem is, this beat the high pressure weakening trend to the coast, if you will. We were hoping this thing was going to be a slow motion affair coming toward Florida. The high pressure would weaken it, and we would see a curve, but in fact it got because faster before the high pressure could give out, so that's the situation we're in right now. We still expect that high pressure to weaken over the next 12 hours or so, and we likely will see a turn, we better see a turn, to the northwest sometime during the day on Sunday, but this still could go a ways west before it feels that tug to the north.
And as we've been saying, if the storm does continue headed on a track more to the west, even a couple of hours before the turn actually kicks in, then the worst weather, or the weather associated with the feeder bands, the bad winds, the bad rains, translate further west as well. In other words, Lee County, Collier County, and Charlotte County may get a bigger blow out of this if it stays more westerly. The northwestern
but nobody said that, and everybody's gone to bed.
Of Lee and Collier and Charlotte, but it appears now with this persistent westerly track, we may be looking at a couple more hours before the storm begins to take that northwest movement, and that translates to some worse weather on the west coast instead of getting brushed by.
It's always very frustrating at times as the storm interacts.
Sounds just like Charlie.
The coastline. Many times it does unusual things. Many times it will slow down. We all remember fresh in our memory what happened to Charlie as it first was aiming for Sanibel and then took the left turn, then it stopped, and then went up Charlotte Harbor, zigging and zagging the entire way. This one is doing a couple unexpected things as we watch it now, slowing down. The eye is still very large. The eye east sidewalls offshore. The west eyewall is coming up from the lake shore of Lake Okeechobee right now.
I picture Indian River Beach.
Okay, I couldn't hear exactly where that was said. Indian River Beach.
Indian River Beach is going to be up past Vero Beach, in the general between Vero Beach and Sebastian, up the east coast. There it is. It's south of Melbourne, north of Fort Pierce.
205 miles.
Still on the northern part of the hurricane there, you can see the winds are obviously quite strong. The hurricane made landfall as a Category 3 storm and will likely maintain some pretty decent intensity in the first 20-30 miles as it tracks over central Florida. One of the reasons the intensity may not go down quite as quickly, of course, is because of its proximity to Lake Okeechobee. It's going to go over a part of the lake anyway, and that will preclude it from running into a lot of friction. That is
every time we come talk to you and update you from our location here in Melbourne, that the winds will have died down even a small amount, but they have not. And in fact, it seems to have intensified only because we're getting a lot more rain now. We're right along US 1 and the intercoastal waterway here in Melbourne, and except for our television lights, it is completely pitch black. However, amazingly, just a short distance inland here in Melbourne, people are still reporting power, that they do have power, that the lights have flickered on and off, but right now, some areas of this community are sustaining power. Interesting, authorities are saying that so many fewer people this time have entered the shelters here, hundreds less. And it's believed that many of those people have stayed in their homes, either because financially they could not afford the cost of evacuating once again and all that's involved in terms of transportation and hotels, and that they're just storm weary. They've been through this before, and most recently with
Disney World's closed.
And as I came into town earlier today, what I noticed is that
Those
the
ones aren't
hotels
bad.
were completely booked. They weren't booked for evacuees. Everybody in the hotels have been shipped in from other cities and other states to do some of the cleanup.
Southwest Florida.
And a lot of the stores were closed, but I'm told they've been closed for a couple weeks. They never reopened after Francis. So this is a situation where a community is being battered a second time. And many people even left for Hurricane Charlie in this area. So in some respects, a third time, and really the extent of the damage will not be known until first light, but certainly we've got to be feeling that this is the brunt of the storm in terms of the wind and the rain right now. That's the situation from here in Melbourne.
All right, Janet, thank you. We can certainly hear the wind through your microphone as well. Thanks so much. Back to Chris.
Oh, by the way, Jeanne killed 1,500 people in
where Janet is, and it's also
Haiti.
where we find MSNBC's Monica Novotny and the full force of Hurricane Jeanne's ferocious winds being felt there. Hey, Monica.
Hi there. Yeah, we're still feeling the brunt of it. It has been a few hours, I think now, of just the same thing. Essentially, the winds change direction on us. We get different amounts of rain. Right now, it feels like the skies have opened up. It is pitch black when I look up, but the rain is just pelting down. The concern most of the night is just the tremendous
80% of a big city
now,
in
where we are, which
Haiti
is in a more
is
sheltered
gone.
area, but we're now beginning to see the debris flying around much more, and that, of course, is a big concern in the Vero Beach area, especially along the waterfront there. I was talking to Keith earlier, and I think to you guys.
They're
as well,
attacking
talking
the
about fact
people
that
bringing
when we
them
were at
water and
Vero
stuff
Beach
that hadn't
before
eaten in 6
nightfall,
days.
we could see that they had just managed to almost finish
Check
the
in a little
Hurricane
bit later.
Francis cleanup.
It's boarded up. We've actually got steel shutters over the windows, and it's a concrete room. They are hunkered down in there with about 15 or 20 people, and we'll probably spend some time in there with them. Those are people who work and live around here, and their homes were destroyed or damaged so badly in Francis that they didn't feel comfortable staying there. So they've got a generator inside the furniture store. They're boarded up.
All right, then. Thanks to our affiliate, WFTS, for sharing that moment out of this. We can see you down below.
Yeah, it really gives you a sense of the wind
Holy
we're
crap.
seeing and feeling. It's interesting that depending on what level you're on, you know, you're really getting affected by the wind differently. We're actually somewhat protected here, so we're not getting kind of pushed around like we were just a few seconds ago at the last location.
You know, that's enough of that. Kind of like we were in Francis. For a while it was fun, then it got serious, then it got dangerous. So we just moved to a better place. We're protected by a lot of other things around us. So so, the winds are going to blow over the top of us, and you can watch them on your TV screens. But what people are watching now, they're watching in Orlando, and they're watching in Kissimmee, and they're watching in Lakeland, and all the way up even to Leesburg. And those people are saying, oh my gosh, this stuff is coming my way. What can I do? Well, there's nothing you basically can do outside, but a lot of folks are going to lose power. And one of the best things you can do for yourself right now is to go to the freezer and turn it down all the way. Make it as cold as you can get it. And that will freeze all of your stuff as hot water in the bathtub. Because if you don't have water, you need that water for other things. Not for drinking or shaving, or for maybe even for washing, but even to use to flush some things down the little.
Of course, as soon as you said that, it reminded me I forgot to put water in the bathtub in the hotel room.
And there's a pool in our place.
I don't have the wind meter with me. We were going after 110 miles an hour.
Jesus.
We're getting more bands coming through here. The eye of the storm coming on shore north of us. But that's obviously not doing anything to areas that are outside of the eye. Palm Beach County is outside of the eye right now. But what we're getting all night, we've been getting slammed from the west side as you're watching the screen.
Francis hit on Labor Day, and some of these people still don't have power from it, and now are getting hit again.
Coming on shore.